Today, we'll be discussing the latest developments in the semiconductor industry. Companies such as TSMC and Samsung have committed to investing billions in building new fabs in the US. However, these companies are also facing a surge in costs and unprecedented conditions set by the US government. In this video, we'll explore the impact of these conditions on TSMC and Samsung and their response to the US government's demands. So, if you're interested in the latest developments in the semiconductor industry, stay tuned for more. TSMC seeks $15 billion in U.S. chip subsidies for building fabs in Arizona. The U.S. government has announced a plan to invest $40 billion in Arizona, where TSMC is building 2 advanced process fabs. However, a recent report from the Wall Street Journal revealed that TSMC is seeking up to $15 billion in U.S. chip subsidies and hoping for exemptions from some of the restrictions imposed by the U.S. government. TSMC requests around $7 billion to $8 billion in tax credits and direct funding subsidy grants, as building fabs in the US is quite expensive. They're even considering building 2 factories in Arizona and requesting approximately $6 billion to $7 billion in direct grants. Challenges and concerns for TSMC. TSMC CFO has recently said that the cost of constructing factories in the US is significantly higher compared to Taiwan. According to TSMC's founder Zhang Zhangmu, the cost of manufacturing wafers in Arizona is at least 50% higher than in Taiwan. The US government had introduced a chip subsidy program, including a wafer fabrication subsidy of $39 billion to entice semiconductor manufacturing to return to the country. However, the U.S. Department of Commerce has imposed new restrictions for chip makers applying for wafer manufacturing subsidies, which have caused concerns in the industry. The new requirements include providing detailed financial information and projections for applications over $150 million, sharing a certain percentage of unexpected profits with the U.S. government, and exceeding an agreed threshold to return some profits to the U.S. government. Concerns over U.S. government restrictions. According to a source familiar with the situation, TSMC is worried that the limitations imposed by the U.S. government on its potential profits may make the Arizona project economically unviable. TSMC understands that the profitability of 1 or 2 factories is one of many factors to consider in a global manufacturing operation. Therefore, TSMC's application for U.S. chip subsidies requires the provision of detailed financial and operational information and the sharing of excess profits and other restrictions. While sharing profits with the U.S. government is not considered an unreasonable demand, Samsung, TSMC, and other companies must also provide business details and operational data, including capacity by wafer type and utilization rate. Understanding wafer yield determinants and restrictions on chip subsidies. If you're looking to determine the expected yield of defect-free products for wafers, you should consider a few factors. These include the selling price in the first year of production, annual output, and price changes. However, if your company is seeking chip subsidies, it's important to note that restrictions are in place. For example, you're prohibited from expanding the production capacity of advanced manufacturing processes in China and other countries of concern by more than 5%, with a spending cap of $100,000 for advanced capacity investments. Additionally, you can only expand the production capacity of mature processes by up to 10%. The goal of these restrictions on applying for Wafer Act grants by the U.S. Department of Commerce is to protect U.S. taxpayers and ensure that companies receiving subsidies follow through on their promises to use taxpayer grants. The department has warned that you'll have to return the money if you don't comply with these restrictions. Recently, in a meeting at the end of March 2023, TSMC's chairman Liu Dayin stated that TSMC cannot accept the America Wafer Act grants with the current restrictions. TSMC negotiates restrictions on chip subsidies with U.S. government. You may be concerned about potential negative impacts, but TSMC is currently in talks with the US government to negotiate the restrictions placed on chip subsidies. The US Department of Commerce has the authority to determine who should receive grants and their conditions. So, TSMC is working actively to find a solution. However, there are some obstacles in the negotiations, such as the demand for TSMC's accounts and operations, which the company believes could result in the disclosure of confidential information. TSMC's customers, including significant chip manufacturers like Apple, AMD, Qualcomm, MediaTek, Intel, and Rida, trust the company to safeguard their manufacturing information. As a result, TSMC is concerned about the potential for information leaks if shared with the US government. Samsung and SK Hynix are concerned about limitations on wafer subsidies by the US. Two Korean businesses, Samsung and SK Hynix, are likewise concerned about the limitations put on wafer subsidies by the United States. They worry that accepting American subsidies may limit their ability to invest in producing sophisticated chips in China. While SK Hynix ran a DRAM manufacturing facility in Wuxi and purchased Intel's NAND flash factory in Dalian in 2020, Samsung operates a NAND flash factory in Xi'an and packaging facility in Suzhou. These businesses fear that the restrictions will significantly negatively impact the semiconductor manufacturing sector globally. How TSMC and other foreign semiconductor manufacturers navigate restrictions on US chip subsidies and their potential impact. TSMC is currently anticipated to see relatively few adverse effects from the restrictions placed on US chip subsidies, although these subsidies are crucial to the company's expansion in China. TSMC operates two wafer foundries in Nanjing and Shanghai, China. However, their combined capacity is only about 6% of the company's total wafer production capacity. However, the US government continues to place restrictions on TSMC and other foreign semiconductor manufacturers. For example, these companies must build and operate locally, provide comprehensive enterprise operating data, and deal with an unprecedented demand for shared trade secrets. These limitations may interfere with the standard output if not managed well. And that completes our video for today. We hope you enjoyed learning about the challenges faced by TSMC. What are your thoughts about this? Tell us in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content such as this.